Winter presses down like a closed fist. Snow covers the trails. Frost climbs the walls. Hunger whispers names. In 1879, a respected Cree guide named Swift Runner stood beneath the gallows in Alberta, Canada. He confessed to killing and eating members of his own family. When asked why, he did not only say starvation. He said a spirit had taken hold of him. He said its name was the Wendigo. This film follows two paths. One is history, records of a man, a crime, and a trial. The other is older, stories told by Algonquian-speaking peoples across the northern forests, stories about winter, greed, and the loss of a soul.
Long before maps divided the North, indigenous nations lived with a land defined by extremes. Summers brought abundance. Winters could bring famine. Families moved with the herds. Knowledge passed from elders, where to fish under the ice, what bark could be boiled when meat failed. Stories were not entertainment. They were survival tools. They explained how to live together and warned what happens when hunger turns to greed. The Wendigo was one of those warnings.
The name changes across languages. Wendigo, Witico, Wetico. But the meaning is constant. The Wendigo is a spirit of hunger and excess. It appears in winter when food is scarce, when someone breaks the greatest taboo, eating human flesh. Descriptions vary. A gaunt figure, skin stretched over bones, eyes glowing red, a breath that freezes in the air. The more it eats, the hungrier it becomes. This is not just horror. It is law. It tells the community, share food, resist greed, or risk becoming a Wendigo. Communities had ways to fight back. Healers, known to outsiders as shamans, tried to cure the possessed. They used sweat lodges, fasting, ritual songs, and smoke. If nothing worked, sometimes the only answer was to end the life of the person before they harmed others. It was a terrible choice, but it was survival. European missionaries arrived with their own ideas. Jesuit priests wrote about the Wendigo in their reports. They called it a devil. They called the healers sorcerers. They turned a cultural warning into a story of Satan. Through their words, the Wendigo became a curiosity for Europe and a reason to control indigenous life under colonial law. Now back to 1879. Swift Runner took his family into the bush for the winter. He returned in spring alone. He claimed hunger had killed them. But he did not look starved. Police grew suspicious. At his cabin, they found bones and human remains. He confessed to killing and eating his wife and children. He also said the Wendigo had spoken to him. He said he had become the monster. The colonial court did not accept this. He was found guilty and hanged at Fort Saskatchewan. His case became the most famous example of what would later be called Wendigo psychosis. In the 20th century, doctors and anthropologists tried to explain the stories. They described Wendigo psychosis, a condition where a person believes they are turning into a cannibal monster. Modern science is cautious. What was called psychosis may have been depression, schizophrenia, starvation delirium, or trauma. The label is no longer used, but the insight remains. Belief, environment, and hunger can shape behavior in powerful ways.
The legend spread in print. Missionary journals, explorer diaries, sensational newspapers. By 1910, the English writer Algernon Blackwood turned the Wendigo into fiction. In his story, it became a cosmic force haunting hunters in the northern forests. This was no longer a cultural warning. It was horror literature. Later, new layers appeared. Artists added antlers. The figure took a deer skull. It became a monster recognizable in one silhouette, effective on screen, marketable in posters, but far from its original meaning.
What does the Wendigo mean now? Many see it as a metaphor for greed, for colonial economies that devour land and people, for addiction, for industries that consume the earth, for the hunger that grows with every bite. The legend lasts because it is true in one sense. The greatest danger is not outside, it is inside. When we forget our responsibility to one another, we become the Wendigo.
In 1879, a rope ended one man's life. But it did not end the story. The Wendigo still walks through snow and time, a reminder that the line between survival and savagery is thin. If we share and care, winter passes. If we give in to hunger without limits, the Wendigo wins.
The story of the Wendigo is more than a tale of horror. It is a reminder of the dangers of greed, of the thin line between survival and savagery, and of how stories carry the wisdom of entire peoples. From the frozen cabins of the Canadian wilderness to the pages of literature and the screens of modern horror, the Wendigo has walked with us for centuries. It teaches us that the greatest hungers are not always for food, but for power, wealth, and control. And when that hunger goes unchecked, we risk losing what makes us human. But this is only one story among many. There are countless legends, mysteries, and histories waiting to be uncovered. If you found this journey into the Wendigo meaningful, then join us as we continue to explore the hidden corners of our past and the myths that still echo in our present. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and share this video with others who love history, folklore, and the darker mysteries of the human experience.
And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next story. This is not the end of the legend. It is only the beginning of our journey together. Stay curious, stay questioning, and remember, the forest is never truly silent.